What's up, fam? Welcome to Amazon Savages podcast. Today, I'm joined with Alex Burns, who has sold $20,000 with Amazon Wholesale over the last 30 days. That's $8,000 in profit. Today, we're going to be going over how he got started, how you can get started as well, strategies for how he found his product. And for anyone that doesn't know, wholesale is basically selling name brand products on Amazon. You purchase them in bulk. There's lots of different strategies for acquiring the products. You can order from distributors, from the brand, from liquidation companies. There's a lot of different ways to approach it, but we'll get into that. And welcome to the pod, brother.
Thanks for having me on, man.
I'm going to cut to the intro real quick because I paid for this, and we'll get back to the pod.
Welcome to the Amazon Savages podcast. Hear the stories of Amazon sellers crushing it in the game and keep up with the latest strategies that are working. Sit back, relax, and remember, if you truly try and work really hard, you will make a ridiculous amount of money selling on Amazon.
I paid $200 for that. I'm not sure if it's worth it. Alex works as a financial advisor during the day. I'm not sure if he would recommend that or not, but who knows?
Everything.
Maybe I'll get my money back. Maybe I'll get my money's worth for that little intro.
Yeah, I'd say worth every penny for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. What's up, brother? How you doing? Tell us a little bit about how you got started and like how this whole journey of selling on Amazon began for you.
Yeah, like you said, I'm a financial planner. I don't really know if it was, I think honestly, just like curiosity. You see everyone, including yourself on Instagram, just talking about Seller Amp and all these other apps and all these whatever, just showing all their orange bars.
Go-to lister.
Curious, and it seemed like something that had pretty few kind of barriers to entry. Like you just get an account and really just start buying inventory. I probably and would not recommend people go through my path where I started with private label, which is just long lead times, waiting 2 months for items to get shipped from China. And then saw some people doing used books, so I dabbled in that for a bit. And then OA seemed to be where I kind of got my feet under me. But then after like Q4, Q1, I was making good money, but it was just a grind. It was like, I don't know, you buy 12 units from a big box store and have to do that repeatedly, whereas you reach out to a wholesaler and they let you know, like, I have 12,000 units. How many do you want? It's just, I thought it was a better use of my time, to be honest, because I commit probably 5 hours a week to it on like a busy week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So walk us through like the progression. So you started with private label. How much did you do in sales with that? What was your profit looking like? Then you transitioned to books, which is an interesting transition. But the thing about books is like people almost always have success selling books. Like people ask me, do you think books are dying? Do you think and I'm like, out of all the ways that I've taught to sell on Amazon, granted, I'm very biased towards books. People always have success with books. They always turn a profit. Books are so simple. I think if you do books and you don't have success, like you're a fucking idiot. Like you're doing something wrong, like at the end of the day, it's like you're either lying. You're probably just lying because like anybody who goes out and scans with their phone, if it turns green, send it to Amazon and you're not going to lose money. You might break even if you do things really bad. Anyway, but then you transition to OA, which is a little bit more risky, more complex. There's shoes, you got like variations, 20 different sizes of shoes, different things like that. And then finally you landed at wholesale. So if you can walk us through the progression and like what your sales and profit looked like for each of those.
My private label was, I don't know, I really just wanted to start, like just hit the ground running. I found 2 products and like I said, sourced them from China. I got probably, and this was 6 to 8 months ago. So like 40 to 50% profit margins, like pretty decent, but had to run PPC ads. And then it took a while. But once I started getting some momentum, it was like, do I really want to go through the process of waiting another 2.5 months to like?
So the lead time just prevented you. Your sell through was good, healthy. You sold through everything.
Yeah, nice, towards the end, it was good. And I got to a point where that's kind of what pushed me into books was I was like, I need to replenish but like I'm gonna be out of stock because I have to wait basically 2 months for more stuff to come in. And then it was like
Right.
the profit margin was like decent percentage wise, but like we're talking 50 to 75 cents to $1, depending on what I priced them at. And competition was getting deeper. So it's just, and I honestly don't know how I landed on books. I just, again, probably somebody on Instagram, and it seemed like, I mean, that's kind of Amazon in its infancy was books, because there's so many SKUs out there. I'm really not sure how I went from books to OA.
Probably because like Miles and Warner are just posting so much fucking content about OA that if you watch a book video,
Right.
like they come up next. It's
Yeah.
like, and it's a good progression too, because like you can't spend $10,000 in a day on books. And if you do, you're probably doing something wrong. You probably got scammed, but you can easily spend $1,000 a day on online arbitrage or wholesale easily.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that was, I guess, probably my biggest thing is it's, I could find a bunch of books, and I pretty early on used a prep center and just considered it like the cost of doing business, because I travel a decent amount, and was like, I pay somebody $1 to prep this book and I don't have to touch anything, but it's like I spend a certain amount of time looking for, and I buy 20 books, and it's, equates to $20, $50, $70 profit. But it just, I guess the amount of time for money, just, I don't know. I still kind of dabble in it, but it's just, again, I don't spend a whole lot of time on it. So if I'm spending 5 hours a week, that's not getting me many books, to be honest. And then OA, I think it's obviously a great business model. A lot of people make a lot of money in it, but again, I just don't have a ton of time that I commit to this. But I think, and this is going to sound stupid, but I think I kind of went towards that when everyone was getting their hands on those Stanley mugs. And back when I started in OA was when you could just go on their website and just buy 40 of them and they wouldn't cancel your order.
Yeah.
I made a lot of money in that. But then,
yeah, margins on that were like what, like 40, 50%?
Yeah. And I just couldn't
What did you do in sales on that? How much did you get up to?
It's hard to say. I had so many different variations. And for a while there was like a sporting goods store in California that they stopped shipping them. And then, now they're just hard to even find anywhere. Like even if you just wanted to buy one for yourself, they're not easy to come by.
You got to get your go-to profit set up, man. You got to know your profit margins each month.
Yeah. I think that was the last time I sold Stanley was probably 4 or 5 months ago. But
yeah,
that was, I guess, kind of what
those were great, man. I actually got in, and this is my personality. Like when I find something that's good, I just go all in. Yeah. And I went all in on Stanley and set up all these systems. And dude, I swear they canceled 95% of my orders. Like I got in a little bit too late, I guess. I mean, I was trying to spend like $20K a day, and like everything just got canceled. So I missed out on the Stanley, and I'm just not patient enough to like work around it. That's why I love wholesale, man. Like I've been spending $100K a month on wholesale, and it was good until my Amazon account got shut down, obviously. But now I'm still selling wholesale to other Amazon sellers. But I love wholesale because once a month, even like I might buy more product coming up in a few days just to sell to other Amazon sellers. And it's like once a month I can sit down, make the decision to purchase, and then, move on. So,
right. Yeah, that's definitely what entices me about wholesale. Even OA, it's just like, you're going on Target and you make an order and it goes through or it doesn't. And wholesale, I literally just have a guy text me with like, here's a good deal. Do you want it? I have this many, and just kind of.
Yeah. So walk us through the transition. So you're doing OA, you made decent profits with the Stanley mugs. How did you learn wholesale, and like what was your approach? Like how did you get your first supplier? And was it a distributor? Was it brand direct? Can you kind of walk us through what that relationship looks like?
Yeah, I would probably my saving grace and what got me into wholesale to begin with was when it was starting to get harder to find like Stanley mugs, and I sold Yeti, I sold a bunch of different things, OA, but when it started getting harder to find and I just wasn't getting that volume that I was looking for on a SKU to SKU basis, I started just, if I found a profitable lead for like OA, I just made a habit of spending the 30 seconds to go on their website and email them. And I just did that consistently and probably have sent, I could have been better about following up with a lot of these people, but I probably sent 400 emails to just different brands. And then I started looking through.
How'd you find the brands? Did you use a tool or did you just Google brands or look on Amazon?
Yeah, like Keepa and Seller Amp, just use that, and did obviously some storefront stalking, and just like literally just the contact us page, and every name brand out there you could name, like for makeup or soap or pencils. I emailed them, and then I'm sure you're well aware of, I don't have really the buying power to buy a full truckload of like Procter and Gamble stuff, but I think it's powerful to ask people for like their distributors, and a lot of them will just give you a web page of like, here's distributors are in your area. They'll give you a list, and I don't know. I only work with probably 5 distributors now, but so I guess that's 5 out of 400 emails I sent. Is not a very good success rate, but I've been pretty successful with the 5 that I use. And then I have a couple brand direct deals as well.
Nice. So you reached out to them. What'd your email look like when you reached out?
It's pretty boring. I can pull it up. It's literally just like, we're expanding our supplier base. We're looking for a long-term partnership. Do you have any local distributors, or can we buy from you direct? Please let us know if there's anything we can do to, get this relationship
And then
rolling.
they hit you up with like a UPC list. Did you know what you wanted to purchase from them? Were you familiar with the brands? Like, how did you make your first purchase?
Typically I was familiar with them. So some of them, like I buy Protein brand direct, and they don't have a ton of SKUs, but I just read the About Us page before I contacted them. A lot of the other ones are just like Revlon or any of the big name kind of brands out there, which I guess are kind of household names that a lot of people know. And then, yeah, some of them, they just send you like basically a spreadsheet, or some of them literally just like, we have 5 SKUs, here's what they are, and here's what our minimum orders are, and I just hit the ground running, I guess. Obviously made some mistakes along the way, but
how big of orders are you placing, and what's your lead time looking like? And I guess, like, how long does it take you to sell through what you purchase, and how much profit are you making on your orders?
Yeah, it's obviously dependent on like the SKUs, and lead times are brand direct. We've been like 2 or 3 weeks. One of them, dragged out to like 6 weeks, which kind of killed me because that was my biggest and largest, earliest kind of brand direct purchase was, I think, like $15K. And that was the first time where I kind of just jumped in both feet first. But that's making $17 profit a unit, which is like 50% ROI.
Nice.
And then that one, it's hard to say whether or not I'll replenish. I basically got like 6 weeks worth, and they have they seem to have like counterfeiters or like map issues out there, where I get hit with like a map violation, but then 5 other sellers that don't. So
it's a risk reward analysis with this stuff. Be careful. You're taking advice from somebody who has no Amazon accounts anymore. But I'm actually writing a blog on this. And so there's different types of counterfeit claims. If you guys get a counterfeit claim on a used item, you're fucked. Like, you're not fucked in the sense that you're never gonna be able to sell on Amazon again, but you're not gonna be able to fight that. How are you gonna fight a used counterfeit? Unless you have a new invoice and you're selling it as used, but you're likely have a used invoice, and it's just not gonna hold up. Used invoices won't. But the new counterfeit claims are different, because if you sold a product new, you should have either a receipt or an invoice. And if you do, you can fight it. And I know friends of mine have done this. They've threatened to sue the brand. They've fought back. They've fought back against the law firms that are claiming these items are counterfeit. You guys can Google Voorhees. Voorhees is a law firm that says a lot of items are counterfeit. They'll do counterfeit claims on your items, but really what they mean by counterfeit is your product. For example, if you sold this mic on Amazon, the brand could say it's counterfeit because you're not including the instruction manual. And if that's true, if you're not including the same instruction manual, it is not the same intellectual property. It doesn't have, you're not going to be able to read the instructions, so you're not going to be able to know how to use it correctly. Therefore, it's, in their eyes, a counterfeit product. But that's a much more fightable claim than a counterfeit claim for used items. So just know that. And it's always, I mean, people have different philosophies on this. You can go ahead and try and sell this stuff. My philosophy is like, don't overstock. You have a 6-week supply, so maybe get down to like a 2-week supply and then purchase more. You know, a lot of times the biggest risk is getting restricted on a per ASIN basis. So ask yourself, do you have legit receipts, legit invoices? And if you do, those will hold up. And there's the doctrine of the second sale, which will hold up in the new argument, but it won't hold up in the used argument. I've tried it. If you try and use the argument of the second sale with a used textbook counterfeit claim, it's just not going to hold up because you have no proof that it's not counterfeit. But if you do have proof it's not counterfeit, you know, i.e. a receipt or invoice, then I think it's a calculated risk. But keep in mind that you're selling on Amazon, and there's always the risk of getting restricted on a per ASIN basis, which is essentially like you're done after you get restricted on that ASIN, unless there's another ASIN of the same product, which if that's the case, at some point in time, they're probably going to get taken down anyway, because brands don't like multiple ASINs for the same product. Anyway, rant on that, but that's just, you know, take my advice with a grain of salt. But I mean, I think if you're making profit on it, keep selling it. Don't overstock, and, you know, only do that if you have legit invoices and receipts.
Yeah, that's like a brand direct deal where their minimum order quantity, I told them up front, I was like, it's not selling through that quickly. And then there's now 3 times as many sellers as there were when I got into it, but it's still selling through right now. So kind of just going to play it by ear in the next week or so.
Heck yeah. What tips do you have for people who are just getting into wholesale? Maybe they're like at a medium level, or they're just a complete beginner. Do you have like any tips that you wish you would have known starting out?
Just say stick to the basics. So probably kind of along that same line of that, you know, my largest order with a 6-week lead time and 6 weeks worth of inventory, I was just like, you know, it's making good profit and it's selling a bunch, but I think the fundamentals weren't there. I knew it was probably more of like the minimum order quantity than I should have bought, but I was just excited and didn't stick to the basics. So now I have more of it than I need to. It'll be fine, but it holds up cash flow, and you know, cash flow is, it's kind of like a snowball effect of if you start having small cash flow issues, they definitely add up quickly.
Yep. And
then, like I said, my saving grace was just reaching out to people on a daily basis. I don't know. I'm trying to help my friend get into the game too, but I just don't even know how to describe, like, literally you just got to email a bunch of people, and at some point something's going to stick. Go on, like spend an hour on Google, just Google like product name, distributor in America, and just look through 3 pages of Google results for several different items. And, you know, you're going to find something out there.
Right. Yeah. You just got to put the work in. Nobody wants to put the work in though. Everyone wants it to be easy. I will say wholesale people understand it a little bit more. I feel like people who get into wholesale, and I feel like the most successful Amazon sellers are wholesale sellers at scale. Like everyone I interview on my podcast, the most inspiring people I talk to usually are wholesalers. And I think they understand that it's hard work. Like wholesale just kind of sounds hard. It's like, it just sounds like a big drop shipping sounds easy. It's like you connect, a distributor to the customer and you never touch the product. It's almost too good to be true. It does work illegal on Amazon. And that's the thing that pisses me off. Like there's people that have drop shipped on Amazon and they get their Amazon accounts back and I can't get my Amazon account back for running restricted inventory. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. So, any other tips you got for people before we get out of here?
I'd say just keep at it. Like it took months of pretty much trying every other model to figure out that wholesale was kind of what suits my needs and my time constraints best. And I wouldn't say jump into wholesale like right off the bat. I'd say books or OA or anything else is like a good way to learn like Seller Amp or whatever tools that you want, just to be able to know the basics before you start making like $10,000 purchase orders. But just keep at it. I'm learning new things every single day. Amazon's.
How are you doing on your restocks for your stuff?
As far as
do you have a good system for knowing when to restock? Are you good at forecasting what your 30-day supply is, all that stuff?
Yeah, I do a decent amount. Do decently well with it. Yeah.
What do you use your own spreadsheet? How are you tracking that stuff?
I use Google Sheets as well as like other software like Inventory Labs.
Right. So
then I recently got onto a GoToLister.
Hey baby, let's go. Speaking of that, let me show you guys this real quick. I got a special offer for everyone watching this and for you as well. Let me get in here. I'm going to expose Joji Davenport's profits. Joji Davenport's a YouTuber. I'm in his account right now since I don't have an account. But if you look here, you can see what his sales are each month, how much he paid for this inventory. There are some, he needs to update his buy cost, but roughly he's probably spent about $7,000, $8,000 on this inventory, maybe a little bit more. And then you can see Amazon fees are $7,000, all the FBA fees and everything. And so GoToLister actually shows you your profit on a day-to-day basis. So like you didn't know how much money you made with Stanley, but you should know, you should be able to look at GoToLister and if you entered your buy cost correctly, and you can transfer data if you used an inferior software in the past, like Inventory Lab or like Accelerlist or ScanLister or any of those. Actually, is my screen showing? Yeah, my screen is showing. You can see like on a daily basis, he did 2,200 in sales, $1,400 profit, and you can really see, how much profit you're making on a daily basis, which measuring gross profit is extremely important because if your gross profit is low, you don't have much room for prep cost, for virtual assistant cost, for taking money out for yourself. Like you want your gross profit to be as thick as possible. You want it to be 30, 40%, if possible is great. A lot of people's gross profit ends up 20% and then net at the end of the day is 10%. That's kind of typical for Amazon sellers. So the higher you can get that gross profit, the better. And GoToLister helps you do that. GoToLister also just helps you list any product. You guys can create FBA shipments from here. All you got to do is click on create shipment, fulfilled by Amazon. You can use our smart pricing, which basically tells you if there's no FBA offers, we tell you, and you should be pricing items that don't have FBA competition a little bit higher. You can also view your sales and orders here. And then my special offer for everyone, if you guys email me, Alex, since you watched this far into the podcast, and Alex, I'll let you do this as well. This is my first time ever showing this spreadsheet. And the only reason why I'm showing this spreadsheet right now is because my Amazon accounts are shut down for an indefinite amount of time. And here's some free leads, guys, some free products. So pause the screen and dig in, guys. Here's some good ASINs. And this is the ROI I have. You can see this spreadsheet, basically what it does is it tells you how much more you should purchase. So if you go all the way over here, it says buy more. And this is projecting a 1 month stock. And so I'm going to give this to everyone who emails us. Alex, I'll give you the spreadsheet. All you have to do, and I'll send you a video on how to update the spreadsheet too. All you have to do is enter your sales data from Amazon, which I'll show you how to do, and then make sure that your ASINs are included in the spreadsheet, which I'll also show you how to do that. And then basically it tells you, hey, based on your sales for the last 7 days. So if you sold an item, it looks at the 7 days prior to that sale, and it multiplies it by 4, and then it considers what you currently have in stock, which the spreadsheet knows because you'll put that in. Like if you use Seller Amp and export your data, there's a different tab where you put how much you purchased here. And so let's get back here. You can see exactly on a day-to-day basis how much you should be purchasing. Because the worst thing that can happen is you're running a profitable Amazon business, but then you stop making profit because you're out of stock on items, especially with wholesale. With online arbitrage, sometimes it's tricky to order items again. Like Stanley might start limiting orders. Maybe you purchased 500 Stanley mugs the month before, but now you can't because they're canceling all your orders. With wholesale, generally, like your wholesaler is not going to tell you, no, you can't purchase it anymore. Maybe they're out of stock. Maybe they can't order it from their distributor, from the brand directly, but high chances are you can reorder it again. So don't let 3 weeks go by without sales. Make sure you're always tracking the items, your 30-day supply. And remember, this is factoring in what you already have. This is factoring in what's inbound to your warehouse. You don't want to overstock. Another bad thing you can do is overstock. Like you were saying, loading up, you have $10,000, $20,000 in inventory because you went too deep on some ASINs. You could have had that money instead to cast your net wider and buy other products that you're currently not selling because you tied up all your capital. Mm-hmm. So anybody who enrolls in GoToLister and emails us at support@gotolister.com, Alex, we're going to give you this spreadsheet, and I'll also give you a tutorial on how to get this set up. And Alex, if you want to use this as well, I'll share it with you. Sounds like you have a good system though. But this just basically, like, I like to look at this and be like, oh crap, I need to, purchase more of these. And, in a few days, I'm going to be making my wholesale purchase. I'm selling most of my stuff to other Amazon sellers, but the same concept holds true. It's like, oh, do I have enough supply for 30 days? And if I don't, I should probably purchase more. Yeah. So email us, Alex, support@gotolister.com. And you guys can also follow Alex on social media. I will link all of his socials below. It's just pictures of him living his beautiful life with his wife. He's not, like I was saying before the pod, he's not like a psychopath like us, just posting about business and our Amazon sales all the time. So if you guys do have questions, he said you guys can reach out to him. So his Instagram will be below. And thanks for coming on, brother. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'll talk to you soon, man.
100%.